Vice President of the Residence Hall Association, which is RHA for short, is where you do all the programs for housing residents and people who are getting housing. That's where I met my wife, who was the freshman of her residence hall, which was a history making because it was her first semester, and they named her president of Trelease Hall, which is an all-female dorm. And that's when we met because we were all part of student government. So George, thank you so much. Thank you. And it's also special because Dr. Smith's mother passed this past Thursday. And he made his way here to be with his best friend. And I just say thank you for that because you're going through a lot in your struggles right now and planning the funeral. But I just want to think, this is what friends are for. I mean, his mom was solid. So I don't take it for granted that you're here because you're under a lot of duress, and to come down here to be with me, I mean, losing a mom is something, and he was with me when I lost my mom. Colette was there too. I brought my mom down here in 2014, 2015. And she's going through stage 4 lung cancer. And I'm an only child. And so being an only child, it takes on extra because you're the only one that has to do everything. You know, it's good growing up with all the toys, but when you have to make those decisions, it was hard. And so my mom was able to really extend her life 2 extra years being here. But during that whole process, I had a chance to go to chemotherapy with her every week. And so my whole perspective of life changed. I quit my job, and the only thing I wanted to do was focus on my mom. And so I would go to those treatments, and I would watch all these people around us. And I always would hope that that bill, you know the bill they have for people who get cured? I always was hoping that that bill would be me and my mother ringing that bell for her to survive cancer. But what it taught me in this process, commissioners, is that I don't take life for granted anymore. I don't take life for granted. I mean, I would see like 10 and 11-year-olds sitting right next to their mom with the chemo, and I'm sitting in my 40s, and I've had all 40 years with my mom. They lose their mom at 10 years old, 11 years old, and I'm just watching that strain from how they're doing it. And so, thank you for that. Appreciate it, sir. I also want to say some thank you to some very special people. My District 3 family, the District 3 folks, the residents and the honorary folks. Just thank you all for voting for me for 6 terms in office. And I don't take that for granted. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's significant in a lot of ways because most folks get tired of you after 20 years. But this was amazing because this last election was like I was president of NACO, and so I'm traveling around the country, South Dakota, North Dakota. But the residents of District 3, they not only voted for me, they gave me 5,000 more votes than I got the last time. That was good. And so I don't ever take that for granted. So what we're going to do these next 4 years is bring in more hope. We're going to bring more connections, more collaboration, more partnerships to really make things happen. And so that's first and foremost, I want to thank them as well. The other folks I want to thank in here is our board of commissioners. Wave your hand to board commissioners, folks. Wave your hand. And our CEO, I think he may be still partying this weekend. I just want to thank y'all for the opportunity to serve with some great people. I mean, we may disagree, but our heart is in the right place for DeKalb County. And you can't beat that. I mean, I get to see history in the making in terms of us helping get streets paved, working on housing, getting gardens done, sidewalks, helping folks. We've helped probably over 10,000 people who may not have had rent or utilities. Over close to $100 million we've put into families in our community to get fresh fruits and vegetables, housing, utilities. So give our board of commissioners, our CEO, a great hand. Thank you. also want to thank the District 3 staff. Where are you? The mighty three. Where are you? Lawrence, Christiana. Where's Christiana? She's somewhere around here. That's not Christiana there. That's my millennial in my office there. I want to just thank them for being with me at some very crucial times. And if you work for me, you have fun, you laugh, we play, we're so serious. Because we serve the folks of District 3. The residents of District 3 deserve the best. Excellence at all points and times. And so every time I get a chance to talk, is like I told them, there's only 2 rules I got. Do your work in excellence and always respect each other. I don't go through a whole long list of all the rules and do's and don'ts, but just do those things, and we're going to do good by our folks in District 3. So I want to just say thank y'all for being with me on this journey. I appreciate you. I also want to thank the Port of Sanford staff and former directors back there, David Manuel, Mr. Billups, the Parks and Recreation. Thank y'all for helping me pull all this together. Thank you. I want to also thank the friends of Larry Johnson. Any of the friends? These are the people. Now these are the people who stayed up with me late, who knocked on doors, who put signs out, who got up early to be on the corner. I mean, who was up at 5 in the morning? Because I love campaigning, first of all. And I don't like to take folks for granted. And so can I have, so I see the pastor back to Mr. Ricky. Now, Mr. Ricky, this man, he handled all the Boulder Crest, Conley area, and he was in from day and night. But I had a lot of my district, and this Lori here, wave your hand, Lori. Yeah. She was 6 years old, 7 years old, wave your hand, Lori. That's Lori. There's Luke here, Debbie, is Allison in the video? Those are my other 6 or 7-year-olds. So you got to, if you ever want to practice your speech, you got to get in front of some 6 and 7-year-olds. And they worked with me through the campaign. And Lori got tired. She was holding up the signs on Memorial Drive in Columbia. She said, Grandma, why are we out here doing this? Who is Larry Johnson? She said, who is Larry Johnson? Why are we out here holding up these signs? Well, I just want to say thank you to our District 3 team. They helped us to achieve 5,000 more votes in this election cycle. They helped us to get our 6th term. And I'm talking about some hard-working folks. I mean, we knocked on doors. I think we did about 30,000 doors. We called about 100,000 people. And I mean, I had grandmothers, Mr. Bradshaw. I mean, grandmothers were just grabbing signs and picking them up. They got mad at somebody who was doing a little smear campaign on me. They were bringing signs down to the county, and they thought the county was behind them. I just want to say thank you, and they paid for the balloons in here. They paid for the food that we're about to eat. They paid for the things we're doing. So thank you, friends of Larry Johnson. We appreciate y'all so much. And I see some of our cabinet members here. Ms. Basin is here. Is any of the cabinet members from planning, zoning, the appeals? We have Parks and Rec. Any of our other cabinet members, are you here? That's one of wave your hand, because they're the ones who are appointed to serve, to do all of our boards. So thank you. Let's give them a great hand as well. Thank my pastor is here, and First Lady here, Marjorie and Dr. Joseph Ripley. Thank you for the spiritual foundation that they have shown me. And you know I have to do this. I got Dr. T and Tierra. 2 T's. Now that's my wife, Dr. T, and she's up front, and like I tell her every day before I leave, I always got to get my kiss and my hug, and I always got to say I love you. Just thank you for being with a guy from the south side of Chicago, and George will tell you, see, George was the reason why I started getting broke. Because I came down to the University of Illinois, I had my patent leather gym shoes on. I had my black leather coat on with a zipper that you can turn white on. And I had my holy jeans on with some parachute pants. And see, he's from Whitney Young. Now, we go by high schools in Chicago. Now, you know, Whitney Young, that's where Michelle Obama went to school. And so he's from the Michelle Obama, them side of town. And so I'm just used to just going to school past. So I'm not trying to dress like nobody else and all that. But I'm the first one to ever go to college in my family, so my family just dropped me off. They just, bloop. And I said, what do you do next? So George saw me because I was on a game show that they had. If anybody watched Know Your Heritage game show, I was one of the contestants, and we almost won in Florida, like 20 points, and it was a Know Your Heritage game show. I was on the game show. That's how George knew me. He said, I know you from the TV show. But then we just hit it off. But Dr. T was the one who really helped me get the foundation that I had. I mean, she's one of the smartest women in the world. See, I was one of the people who had to study to do the test. This lady can study the day before and still get an A. This lady had a 5.0 at the University of Illinois. Could you get a 5.0? Then she followed me to Greeley, Colorado, y'all. Now, I've never been to Colorado in my life, I've never been there. I found out about the school when I had finished my undergrad degree, and I didn't have a job. That was the first recession. People keep thinking we just had a recession. The first recession I had was in 1991. It was no job in America. So I had started cutting grass, cleaning houses, and I was over this professor house. He said, man, you thought about grad school? I said, I didn't know about no grad school or nothing. He said, you need to go to grad school. I said, grad school? He said, okay, I'm gonna find you 2 grad schools. Now, you know, you're talking to a guy who only got a 14 on ACT. I wasn't a great test taker, but I could do the work. I was doing physics, but I wasn't and now he said, I'm gonna find you a school. He found me 2 schools, and I said, let me go to Colorado. Now I went to Greeley, Colorado, and I took this lovely lady with me, and she was in the midst of her program. She was doing actuarial science, industrial education. And so she packed up and went with me. I said, if you finish with me, Dr. T, wherever you want to go, we're going to go. So she packed up and went with me, and we went there, Pastor Harris. I didn't even have first month's rent. I didn't have the rent. We just packed up and left. And this is how you know it was a faith walk, Pastor. I didn't even have the first month's rent. Who would follow a man 1,000 miles? And we didn't have rent. We didn't have rent money. And so she followed me, and the rest is history. She finished there, and she did what? How many hours you did in one semester? She did 30 hours in one semester. Most people do that in 1 year, because she ready to get out of Greeley, Colorado. And so I just said, I thank you for your love and your support. And she wanted to go to law school, and so she got into DeKalb, because the goal was to go back to Chicago. And she wanted to go to the University of Chicago. And so she got into DePaul University, Loyola, Kent, and she got into Emory University. Now she got every law school in Illinois but that one, and she got into Emory University. And we didn't know nothing about Emory University, but we knew about Atlanta. And we said, let's go to Atlanta. And so Dr. T and we packed up and went to Atlanta. And I moved here first. And I got a job at the Board of Health. And at that job at the Board of Health, we created the Pedestrian Safety Coalition. And Ms. Moore is here, Mr. Evans is here. That Pedestrian Coalition was the first coalition to talk about pedestrian injuries and rights for pedestrians in the state of DeKalb. And we created a law. I don't know if you ever see that little sign in the middle of the crosswalk that says stop for pedestrians. That was the first law that we ever created, giving pedestrians the right of way in crosswalks. And that's what would happen when you build a coalition and bring people. And we weren't talking about pedestrian rights in 1992 now. But now, you see now it's part of the lexicon, and people respect the rights, because when we first proposed the law, Colette, it was based on California. In 1993, you could talk about California, Georgia. But we did it. But I just want to say thank you for being with me on the journey and just keeping our family together, because public service is a lot and it can be a lot. But then you gave me a bundle of joy that, we were already serious as young people, because she was a student governor, I was, but then Tierra came along. Tierra Johnson came along, and she had me watching Barney, doing Lion King, Toy Story. I was reading books. She had me reading books to her and to King. We was reading Macbeth, King Lear. I had read Oedipus. I was reading the Iliad to this lady right here, the Iliad and Greek mythology. I said, and then come to find out that she has followed in her mom's footsteps and finished at Georgia State University. Has written 2 or 3 books already. And so I just want to say thank you, Tierra and Tanisha, for just being the rock and the foundation in my life. I cannot be up here without y'all. So thank you. So that's the end of my speech. I just want to say I appreciate you all coming out as we focus in District 3, as I campaigned on. We're going to focus on prevention, economic development, early learning education. I'm going to keep stressing I can't focus on, I can work with the school system, but the school system has its own school board. But what I can do is have an impact on early learning education. And I focus a lot on that because I used to chair United Way of DeKalb County. And in that role, I became part of the Early Learning Commission. Been working with our Federal Reserve Board. We created the first pre-K for refugees in the state of Georgia. This we put it right on Memorial Drive. One of the big things we did, we took 4-year-olds and put them in a grade school for one day. It's like going to college. We had 4-year-olds with backpacks and all that, and let them go to elementary school for one day so they can learn the elementary experience. You just saw those kids walking in there with the book bags and talking. And so part of my platform and things I'm committed to is that. The other part is public safety, public safety, public safety. We got to make sure that we feel safe and secure. And we got to make sure that we do the things that we can. And so I'm going to leave it at that. It's called PEEP, prevention, economic development, early learning education, and public safety. And look for us to be doing these things throughout the year. As you heard a little peep from the young people up here, we're going to start a Youth Voices program. Jay Fly's in the room.